Ambassador Ketra's crystalline form shimmered with barely contained terror as she addressed the emergency session of the Galactic Senate. The holographic display behind her showed a blue marble suspended in the void. Earth, humanity's homeworld, and what she now considered the most dangerous planet in known space. Honored delegates, Ketra began, her voice crackling through the translation matrix. What we discovered on the human homeworld defies all known principles of planetary development and military doctrine. Senator Vorthak, a towering insectoid from the hive worlds, clicked his mandibles impatiently. Ambassador Ketra, we've seen the preliminary reports. The humans possess nuclear weapons, kinetic bombardment capabilities, and chemical warfare agents. Standard primitive militarization. Why the emergency session? Ketra's form flickered red, the Crystari equivalent of a nervous laugh. Senator, those weapons are toys compared to what covers 71% of their planet's surface. The massive Senate chamber fell silent. 3,000 species representing every corner of the galaxy turned their attention to the trembling ambassador. Water, she whispered, the word echoing through the translation systems in 1,000 different languages. Senator Grex, whose aquatic species thrived in the shallow seas of Aquatica Prime, rippled with confusion. Water is life, Ambassador. Every world needs— Not like this, Ketra interrupted, her voice rising to a crystalline shriek. Not this much. The humans call them oceans, and they're vast beyond comprehension. These aren't the modest water bodies we know, puddles covering a few thousand square kilometers. These are continental-sized masses of dihydrogen monoxide, some reaching depths of 11,000 meters. The Senate erupted in chaos. Delegates from desert worlds collapsed in shock. The representatives from gas giants, who had never seen liquid water, began emergency evacuations of their atmospheric suits. Order! Order! Bellowed Supreme Chancellor Zephyros, slamming his gravity hammer. Ambassador, surely you exaggerate. Ketra activated the holographic display. Earth rotated slowly, its blue surface gleaming under Soul's light. The humans possess more weaponized water than the rest of the galaxy combined. The Pacific Ocean alone contains 700 billion trillion liters of the substance. The Atlantic, Indian, Arctic, and Southern Oceans add trillions more. Senator Thane, representing the militant Forge worlds, scoffed. Water doesn't kill, Ambassador. It's inert, harmless. Tell that to the Drought Coalition, Ketra snapped. One human cargo ship carrying 1 million liters of their drinking water could terraform an entire desert world overnight. Imagine what they could do with their oceans. The hologram zoomed in on Earth's surface, showing massive wave formations. They call these tsunamis, walls of water moving at the speed of atmospheric craft, capable of wiping out entire coastal civilizations. The humans live with these weapons of mass destruction as a natural occurrence. Chancellor Zephyros leaned forward, his ancient form crackling with concern. What of the humans themselves? Surely they must live in terror of these ocean weapons. Ketra's form shifted to deep purple, absolute bewilderment. That's the most terrifying part, Chancellor. They don't fear the oceans, they play in them. They've developed something called swimming, deliberately immersing themselves in the weapon medium. They've created surfing, where they ride the weapon formations for entertainment. Some humans spend their entire lives on floating platforms, surrounded by trillions of liters of liquid death. The Senate chamber filled with horrified gasps and the sound of various species evacuating their bodily waste systems. But surely, Senator Grex bubbled desperately, the humans have containment, protocols, planetary shields? Something to protect themselves from these oceanic arsenals? Nothing, Ketra replied flatly. The humans have developed what they call beaches, areas where the ocean weapon meets their land masses with no barriers whatsoever. Millions of humans voluntarily expose themselves to these zones daily. They've even made it recreational. The hologram shifted to show human children building sand castles mere meters from crashing waves. Great cosmos, whispered Senator Vorthak. They're indoctrinating their young. It gets worse, Ketra continued. The humans have weaponized their ocean access. They've created vessels, some the size of small cities, that traverse these water masses. They call their largest combat fleets navies, and they can project force across any ocean on their planet within standard time units. Chancellor Zephyros stood, his massive form casting shadows across the Senate floor. What does humanity say when questioned about these oceanic arsenals? Ketra's form flickered between colors rapidly, the Crystari equivalent of hysteria. They claim the oceans are beautiful. They compose art about them. They've written songs celebrating their majesty and power. When I asked their ambassador about the threat potential, he invited me to go swimming with him. The Senate chamber erupted again. Several delegations began emergency communications with their homeworlds. The representative from the Dry Reaches system began hyperventilating into his moisture recapture unit. "There's more," Ketra announced, causing the chaos to subside into terrified silence. "The humans have discovered ways to harness their oceanic weapons for energy production. They've created tidal generators and wave power systems. They're literally feeding off the power of their planetary-scale liquid armaments." Senator Thane, who had earlier dismissed the water threat, slowly rose. "Ambassador, in your professional assessment, what is humanity's intentions with these oceanic weapons?" Ketra was silent for a long moment, her crystalline form cycling through the spectrum of fear. "Unknown, Senator. But consider this. Humanity contacted us from a planet that is primarily water. They developed spaceflight while living on a world that could drown entire star systems. They've been shaped by forces that would terrify our greatest warriors. And they want to join our Senate," she added quietly. The silence that followed was broken only by the sound of various species beginning emergency evacuation procedures. Chancellor Zephyros raised his gravity hammer one final time. "The motion before us is clear. How do we classify a species that calls weapons of planetary destruction peaceful and life-giving?" "The motion carries," he announced after the unanimous vote. "Let the galactic record show. Earth's oceans are hereby classified as weapons of mass terraforming. Humanity's application to the Galactic Senate is approved. We dare not refuse them." As the session adjourned, one thought echoed through the minds of 3,000 species. What kind of beings were forged in the depths of weaponized water, and what other natural wonders might they consider normal? Ambassador Ketra dimmed to a worried gray as she filed her final report. "Recommend immediate diplomatic relations with humanity. If they can thrive on a world covered in liquid death, we definitely want them as allies, not enemies." The galaxy would never look at water the same way again.